Are you ready for bed? It will soon be bedtime. I hope you're ready. Teeth brushed, pajamas, that last extra drink of water you might need. Tonight's story is called Fanny's Dream. Let's hear about Fanny and her dreams. Once upon a time, in a wild Wyoming town, there lived a sturdy girl named Fanny Agnes. She worked from sunup to sundown on her daddy's farm, but she had her dreams. She was going to marry a prince, or at least the mayor's son. He would be tall, handsome, and have a dozen carriages. He would kiss her hand, dress her in silks and satins, and never let her do another stitch of work. If it could happen once upon a time, Fanny believed, it could happen again. After all, what were fairy godmothers for? When she heard that the mayor was going to give a grand ball, Fanny was so excited, she pulled up a row of carrots and left the weeds instead. She's supposed to be pulling out weeds. Instead, she pulled up the growing carrots. Fanny couldn't resist telling her girlfriends at the hat shop, "I'm going to the ball and I'm going to marry a prince or someone like that." "You?" the girls hooted. "You're not beautiful, you have nothing to wear, and you're about as graceful as an elephant." But Fanny didn't mind. She knew her dreams would come true. Fanny told her brother at dinner that she was going to the ball. "You?" he roared with laughter. "You're as big as an ox." When Fanny got to the part about the fairy godmother, her brother was rolling on the floor. "I read about a girl in a book," Fanny said defensively, "and I know just what to do." That night, Fanny dressed in her best calico and went out into the garden to wait for her fairy godmother. She waited for a long time. After a while, she pulled up some weeds. She could see the mayor's mansion across the valley, all lit up. She could almost hear the music. When it got too dark to pull weeds, she washed her hands and sat down. The moon came out big and full. "Hey, Fanny," a voice called. "Fanny." Fanny jumped up to meet her fairy godmother. But it wasn't her fairy godmother, only Heber Jensen. Heber was cheerful and pleasant and had always liked Fanny, but heavens, he was so short. Fanny almost started crying. "What are you doing out here so late, Fanny?" Heber asked. "I'm waiting for my fairy godmother," sniffed Fanny. "I wanted to go to the ball." Heber thought this over. He's got a little bunch of flowers for her. "Can you twirl and waltz and curtsy?" asked Heber. "No," said Fanny. Then she said, "But I know how to harness a horse, plow a field, and shuck corn." "Well then," Heber said, "do you know how to use 20 forks and spoons, drink from a goblet, and eat snails?" Some people think snails are a fancy kind of food. Fanny wrinkled her nose. "No, but I can cure a ham, kill and dress a chicken, milk 10 cows, and make bread." "Well," Heber teased, "can you simper and flutter your fan and cinch up your waist?" "No," Fanny giggled, "but I can spread manure." "Well, Fanny," said Heber slowly, "I'm not a prince and I don't live in a castle, but I have 160 acres, a little log house, and dreams of my own. I like a wife who would work by my side through thick and thin, sweat and joy, and be glad for good food and great company. Will you, Fanny?" Heber just asked her to marry him. Even with all that moonlight, it took Fanny an hour to give up her dreams. She shook Heber awake. "I don't do windows." "Okay," said Heber. So Fanny married Heber. She helped him plow the north field. She planted potatoes in the garden and pansies in the front. She thinned the beets, fed the chickens, threshed the beans. She held the sheep while Heber sheared them, churned butter, and slopped the pigs. There she is, taking care of the animals. In the winter, Fanny would bring the washing in, frozen stiff, and hang it in the house to thaw. In the evenings, Heber would crack nuts and tell stories while Fanny did the mending. She's sewing some holes in some clothes. She's doing the mending. Sometimes when she needed a good laugh, Fanny would stitch the flap shut on Heber's long johns, then wait to hear him hollering from the outhouse. She thinks that's funny. She closed up the flap in his pants. As for Heber, he figured it hadn't been easy for Fanny to give up her dreams, so he made it a point to wait on her at least once a day as if she were a princess. And every so often, he wiped the grime off the windows. Remember, she said, I'm not doing the windows. Here he is helping her with her feet. He's putting hot water in a bucket so she can soak her tired feet. The next year, the twins were born. Fanny washed diapers and hung them on the stove, washed diapers and hung them across the mantel, washed diapers and hung them from the doorknobs. Heber rocked David and Ethan. When the twins were 5, Davy stuck his socks in the toaster and burned the house down. Fanny grabbed the new baby and the twins before the roof caved in. Heber ran from the fields to see his dreams smoking. Then Franny and Heber built the house again. Here they are. Tried to put socks in the toaster. That's a terrible idea. One night, Fanny went out into the garden to pick a melon. There she is. The moon was full, the air was soft. Fanny sat down and looked up at the stars in the night sky. Then she looked across the valley at the mayor's house, which was all lit up. She could almost hear the music. "Sorry I'm late," a voice sang out. "Look, it's her fairy godmother." Fanny Agnes jumped up as her fairy godmother twinkled down. "You poor dear, having to wait all these years," her fairy godmother gushed. "But there's still time. There's a visiting colonel at the mayor's ball tonight. Just leave it to me. I'll fix everything." But Fanny hesitated. "What's the matter?" her fairy godmother stamped impatiently. "Do you want to go to the ball or not?" Fanny looked down at her worn hands. She looked at the little house where Heber was reading to Davy, Ethan, and Edna Faye. "Not," Fanny said, and she went back into the house. So her fairy godmother came late and offered to get her to a ball to meet a visiting colonel. She said no. "Who were you talking to out there, Fan?" Heber asked. "My fairy godmother, Hebe." Heber laughed. "Oh, sure. And I'm the Prince of Sahiba." "Close enough," Fanny winked. "Close enough." Here he is, taking care of the children, reading to them. And Fanny's decided she's pretty happy with her life, just like it is. I think that's the best way to live a happy life. To be happy about all the things you have and the things you love, and most importantly, the people you love and the people who love you. I hope you're ready for bed. I hope you're ready for a good night's sleep and maybe some dreams tonight, like Fanny's dream. That would be fun, wouldn't it? I can't wait to see you soon. Be good. Have a good night's sleep.